The impossible signal. The morning shift aboard monitoring station Kepler-7 began like any other in the past 3 cycles. Commander Zelthar reviewed the overnight reports while sipping his traditional morning brew, the bitter liquid helping sharpen his already keen reptilian senses. The station orbited the 4th planet of the Kepler system, hidden behind sensor-dampening fields and protected by the most advanced defensive network the Galactic Coalition had ever constructed. Technician Crix, barely past his first molting, hunched over the long-range sensor array with the dedication typical of his species. His 4 eyes moved independently as they scanned multiple displays, searching for any anomaly in the vast emptiness of space. The young Zenthari had been assigned to this posting 6 months ago, and until today, the most exciting thing he had encountered was a small asteroid that had drifted too close to their patrol perimeter. The station's primary mission was classified, at the highest levels. Officially, Kepler-7 was a deep space research facility studying stellar phenomena. In reality, it housed Project Mindbridge, a secret program dedicated to understanding the psychological and tactical patterns of humanity. The Coalition had been studying humans for decades, trying to comprehend how a species so physically unremarkable had managed to resist their expansion efforts time and again. Dr. Voxhan, the station's research director, had spent years analyzing captured human military data, trying to decode what made these bipedal mammals so unpredictably dangerous. His preliminary findings had been disturbing enough to warrant the station's construction in this remote system, far from any human-inhabited worlds. The research suggested that humans possessed an unusual psychological trait that made them more dangerous when cornered rather than less. Crix's primary set of eyes suddenly focused on a single display, his membranes fluttering with alarm. The energy signature that had just appeared on his sensors should not exist. According to every known law of physics and engineering, the propulsion system creating the signature was impossible. "Commander Zelthar," Crix called across the monitoring center, his voice carrying the high-pitched tone that indicated serious concern. "We have an unidentified vessel approaching from Sector 77 Alpha." Zelthar set down his brew and approached the sensor station, his scaled feet making soft clicking sounds against the metal floor. As a veteran of 17 different campaigns against various species, he had learned to trust his subordinates' instincts about potential threats. The young Zenthari wouldn't call attention to something unless it was genuinely unusual. "Show me the readings," Zelthar commanded, his serpentine neck extending to get a better view of the displays. Crix manipulated the controls with his tentacle-like fingers, bringing up a 3-dimensional tactical display that showed the approaching vessel. The ship appeared to be of human design, though unlike any configuration in their extensive databases. It measured approximately 400 meters in length, with a sleek profile that suggested it was built for speed rather than heavy combat. "The energy signature is the problem, sir," Crix explained, his voice trembling slightly. "The propulsion system is generating power readings that exceed anything we've seen from human technology. According to our calculations, their engine output should tear their ship apart, but their hull integrity remains perfect." Zelthar studied the data for several minutes, his analytical mind working through the implications. Human ships were known for being robust and functional, but they had never demonstrated technology that surpassed Coalition engineering standards. Yet here was a vessel that seemed to violate several fundamental principles of spacecraft design. "How long until the vessel reaches our defensive perimeter?" Zelthar asked. "At current velocity, approximately 4 hours," Crix replied. "But sir, their acceleration curve suggests they could increase speed significantly if they choose to." The commander activated his personal communication device and established a secure connection to Admiral Zeftos, the overall commander of the Kepler system defenses. The Admiral's image appeared as a hologram, showing his distinctive scarred features and the ceremonial armor that marked his high rank within the Coalition military. "Admiral, we have a situation developing," Zelthar reported. "A single human vessel is approaching our position with technology that exceeds our understanding of their capabilities." Admiral Zeftos leaned forward, his multiple arms gesturing in patterns that indicated intense interest. "Show me the tactical analysis." Zelthar transmitted the sensor data to the Admiral's command ship, watching as the holographic figure reviewed the information. The Admiral's expression grew more concerned as he processed the implications of what he was seeing. "This is troubling," Admiral Zeftos said after a long pause. "Our intelligence reports indicated that human technology was at least 50 cycles behind our own. Either our information was wrong or something significant has changed." "There's another possibility, sir," Zelthar ventured. "Our research into human psychology has revealed that they often make technological leaps during periods of extreme stress. Perhaps they've developed this technology as a response to our recent expansion into their frontier regions." The Admiral's scarred features twisted into what passed for a smile among his species. "Then we have an opportunity to field test our defenses against their latest innovations, activate all defensive platforms and ready the patrol fleet. Let's see what these humans think they can accomplish with one ship against our full battle group." Aboard the approaching vessel, Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the TSS Defiance, watching the tactical display that showed the massive alien defensive network ahead of them. The Coalition had built an impressive fortress in this system, with automated weapons platforms, shield generators, and a fleet of warships that could theoretically destroy anything that challenged them. Elena had volunteered for this mission, knowing it was likely a one-way trip. The Defiance represented humanity's latest technological breakthrough, incorporating adaptive systems that had been developed in the hidden research facilities of the outer colonies. The ship's AI could analyze enemy weapons and defenses in real time, automatically adjusting their own systems to counter any threat they encountered. "Captain, we're receiving multiple targeting locks from the alien positions," reported Lieutenant Commander James Park, the ship's tactical officer. "Looks like they're taking us seriously." "Good," Elena replied with a grim smile. "That means we have their full attention. Communications. Try hailing them on standard diplomatic frequencies." The communications officer, Ensign Rebecca Torres, worked her console for several minutes before shaking her head. "No response to our hails, Captain. They're jamming our standard channels, but I'm reading increased chatter on their military frequencies." Elena had expected as much. The Coalition rarely engaged in diplomatic conversation with species they considered inferior. They preferred to speak through displays of force, demonstrating their technological superiority before demanding surrender or compliance. "Very well," Elena said. "We'll have to communicate in a language they understand. Mr. Park, arm all weapons systems, but do not target their vessels. I want them to know we're prepared to fight, but we're not here to start a war." The Defiance continued its approach toward the alien fortress, its adaptive hull gleaming under the light of the system's star. The ship's revolutionary quantum processors continuously analyzed the electromagnetic signatures of the alien weapons, preparing countermeasures for every possible attack pattern. Back on the monitoring station, Crix watched his displays with growing amazement as the human ship demonstrated capabilities that should not exist. Their shields appeared to be using some form of reactive technology that strengthened in response to targeting scans, and their hull was reflecting sensor probes in ways that made accurate readings impossible. "Commander," Crix said, his voice filled with wonder and fear, "I don't think this is just advanced human technology. I think they've created something entirely new." Zelthar nodded grimly as he watched the tactical display. The approaching human vessel had just done something that challenged everything he thought he knew about space combat. Instead of following a predictable approach vector, the ship had somehow altered its course without changing its engine output, as if it were bending space itself to move in directions that physics said were impossible. "Alert all stations," Zelthar commanded. "We're about to learn whether our research into human nature was accurate. If our theories are correct, this ship represents everything dangerous about their species concentrated into a single vessel." The Defiance continued its steady approach toward the Coalition fortress, carrying with it the hopes and determination of an entire species that refused to accept defeat. Captain Elena Vasquez stood ready to prove that humanity's greatest strength was not their technology, but their unwillingness to surrender in the face of impossible odds. As the two forces prepared for the confrontation that would determine the future of human-alien relations, neither side fully understood what they were about to unleash. The Phoenix Protocol was about to be tested in the crucible of deep space combat, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Phoenix rises. The first shots fired in the Kepler system battle came from the Coalition's automated defense platforms. Admiral Zeftos had given the order to open fire when the human vessel crossed into their outer perimeter, expecting to see the enemy ship destroyed within seconds by the concentrated firepower of 48 weapons platforms. Instead, the TSS Defiance did something that left every alien observer speechless. The ship's hull began to shimmer with an iridescent glow as it absorbed the incoming energy blasts. And rather than exploding or retreating, the vessel accelerated directly toward the heaviest concentration of firepower. Captain Elena Vasquez felt the bridge vibrate gently as the adaptive shields converted the alien weapons fire into raw energy that fed back into their own systems. The Defiance had been designed specifically for this moment, incorporating breakthrough technology that turned an enemy's strength against them. Shield efficiency at 112%, reported Lieutenant Commander Park from the tactical station. The alien weapons are actually making us stronger, just like the simulations predicted. Excellent, Elena replied, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. Now let's show them what human engineering can accomplish. Target the nearest weapons platform and return fire, but use only minimum necessary force. The Defiance's main cannon fired a single precisely calculated shot that struck the alien platform with just enough energy to disable its weapons without destroying the structure. The message was clear. Humanity could have destroyed the platform entirely, but chose restraint instead. On the monitoring station, Commander Zelthar watched the display with growing disbelief. Not only had the human ship survived the initial barrage, but it had demonstrated both superior defensive technology and remarkable tactical discipline. Most species would have responded to the attack with overwhelming force, yet these humans had chosen to disable rather than destroy. "Sir," Technician Crix called out, his voice filled with panic, "the human vessel is requesting permission to dock with our station. They're transmitting on diplomatic frequencies and asking to speak with our commanding officer." Zelthar's serpentine form tensed with surprise. In all his years of military service, he had never encountered an enemy that requested negotiations while under fire. The tactical situation made no sense according to standard military doctrine, yet somehow the humans were making it work. "Admiral Zeftos will want to know about this immediately," Zelthar muttered, opening a communication channel to the command ship. Admiral Zeftos received the news while watching his own displays show the impossible sight of a single human vessel moving through his defensive network, as if it owned the system. 3 of his patrol ships had attempted to intercept the intruder, only to discover that their weapons had no effect whatsoever on the alien technology. "They want to talk?" the Admiral asked, his scarred features expressing the confusion that every Coalition officer was feeling. "While we're shooting at them?" "Yes, sir," came Zelthar's reply. "And they've only disabled our weapons platforms, not destroyed them. It's as if they're trying to minimize casualties while demonstrating their superiority." The Admiral paused for a moment, his tactical mind processing the implications. Either these humans were completely insane, or they possessed a level of confidence that suggested they knew something he didn't. Given the technological superiority they had already demonstrated, he suspected it was the latter. "Very well," Admiral Zeftos decided. "Allow them to dock with the monitoring station, but maintain full security protocols. I want to know what they're planning." Aboard the Defiance, Major Rick Chen stood in the ship's launch bay with 24 of humanity's finest Marines, checking their equipment one final time before the boarding operation. The Major was a veteran of the colony defense wars, a man who had learned to fight against overwhelming odds and somehow find a way to win. "Remember," Major Chen addressed his troops, "we're not here to conquer anything. Our mission is to gather intelligence about Coalition research activities and demonstrate that humanity will not be intimidated by superior numbers." Sergeant Maria Santos, a specialist in guerrilla warfare tactics, raised her hand. "Sir, what if they try to take us prisoner once we're aboard their station?" Major Chen smiled grimly. "Then we show them why capturing humans is usually a mistake. The Phoenix Protocol isn't just about our technology, Sergeant. It's about who we are when everything looks hopeless." The docking procedure went smoothly, with the Defiance's adaptive systems automatically adjusting to match the alien station's connection protocols. Captain Elena accompanied the boarding party, determined to personally deliver humanity's message to the coalition commanders. Dr. Voxhan waited in the station's main conference room, surrounded by security personnel and recording equipment that would capture every detail of this historic first contact. As the research director responsible for studying human psychology, he was uniquely qualified to understand the significance of what was happening. When the humans entered the conference room, Dr. Voxhan immediately noticed details that confirmed many of his theoretical predictions. The humans moved with the fluid coordination of a species that had evolved as persistence hunters, their eyes constantly scanning for threats and opportunities. Their equipment showed signs of field modification and improvisation, indicating a culture that valued adaptability over standardization. Captain Elena Vasquez stepped forward, removing her helmet to reveal a face marked by years of command responsibility. She was smaller than most of the alien personnel in the room, yet somehow her presence dominated the space through sheer force of will. "I am Captain Elena Vasquez of the Terran Space Service," she announced, her voice carrying clearly through the universal translator system. "I'm here to discuss the immediate cessation of coalition research activities involving human subjects." Dr. Voxhan felt his research theories crystallizing into certainty as he observed the human captain. Despite being outnumbered and surrounded by hostile forces, she showed no signs of fear or uncertainty. This was exactly the psychological profile that made humans so dangerous in combat situations. "Captain Vasquez," Dr. Voxhan replied, "I am Research Director Voxhan. I must admit your arrival has been most illuminating. Our studies predicted that humans would eventually develop countermeasures to our technology, but we underestimated the timeline significantly." Elena smiled, though the expression held no warmth. "That's because you've been studying us like laboratory specimens instead of recognizing us as equals. We've known about this facility for months, and we've been preparing specifically for this encounter." Admiral Zeftos entered the conference room at that moment, flanked by his personal guard. The Admiral's imposing form towered over the humans, yet Captain Vasquez didn't even blink at his presence. "Human Captain," the Admiral said, "your vessel has demonstrated impressive capabilities, but you are still vastly outnumbered. What exactly do you hope to accomplish here?" Elena gestured to Major Chen, who activated a portable holographic projector. The device displayed a three-dimensional map of the local sector, showing coalition fleet positions and defensive installations throughout the region. "We hope to prevent a war that would devastate both our species," Elena replied. "This facility represents a violation of interstellar law regarding the treatment of sentient beings. We're prepared to demonstrate that continued aggression against human colonies will result in consequences you're not prepared to handle." The holographic display shifted to show detailed schematics of coalition military technology, including classified information that should have been impossible for humans to obtain. Admiral Zeftos felt a chill run through his body as he realized the implications of what he was seeing. "How did you acquire this intelligence?" the Admiral demanded. Sergeant Santos stepped forward with a datapad in her hands. "We've been conducting reconnaissance operations in coalition space for the past 2 years. Every merchant vessel you've allowed to pass through your territory, every refugee ship you've inspected, every diplomatic mission you've hosted has been gathering information." Dr. Voxhan made a sound that might have been laughter if his species were capable of such expression. "Remarkable. You've been studying us while we were studying you. The Phoenix Protocol, indeed." Elena raised an eyebrow. "You know about the Phoenix Protocol?" "It's the name we gave to the psychological pattern we observed in human behavior," Dr. Voxhan explained. "When most species face overwhelming opposition, they either surrender or fight desperately until they're destroyed. Humans do something different. You become more dangerous when cornered, more innovative when facing impossible odds, more determined when confronted with superior force." Major Chen nodded approvingly. "That's exactly right, Doctor. And now you're about to see it in action." The conference room fell silent as the implications of the human revelation sank in. The coalition had spent decades building a military advantage over humanity. only to discover that their enemies had been using that time to develop countermeasures specifically designed to neutralize that advantage. Captain Vasquez activated her communication device and sent a coded signal to the Defiance. Within seconds, the ship's adaptive systems began broadcasting a new type of signal that caused every coalition weapon in the system to shut down simultaneously. "We call it the Harmony Protocol," Elena explained calmly. "Your weapons systems all use quantum resonance targeting. We've developed a way to disrupt that resonance across an entire star system. As of this moment, every coalition military asset in the Kepler system is effectively defenseless." Admiral Zeftos felt his worst fears confirmed as reports flooded in from his fleet commanders. Every ship, every platform, every defensive installation had suddenly lost the ability to fire their weapons. The humans had turned the coalition's technological superiority into a liability with a single brilliant stroke. "What do you want?" the Admiral asked, his voice heavy with defeat. Elena's expression softened slightly. "We want to coexist peacefully. We want an end to the abduction of human civilians for research purposes. We want recognition as equals in this galaxy, not subjects to be studied and exploited." Dr. Voxhan leaned forward, his scientific curiosity overcoming his fear. "And if we refuse?" Major Chen smiled with the confidence of a man who had faced impossible odds before and survived. "Then you'll discover that the Phoenix Protocol has more surprises in store. Humanity doesn't just rise from defeat, Doctor. We rise stronger, smarter, and more determined than before." The meeting continued for several hours, with both sides negotiating the terms of a new relationship between humanity and the Galactic Coalition. When the Defiance finally departed the Kepler system, it carried with it not just intelligence about alien technology, but something far more valuable: proof that humanity's greatest weapon was not their ships or their guns, but their refusal to accept defeat. As Captain Elena Vasquez watched the Coalition fortress fade into the distance, she knew that this was just the beginning. The Phoenix Protocol had been tested in the crucible of deep space diplomacy, and humanity had emerged stronger than ever before. The galaxy would never underestimate the human spirit again.